Hey guys, in today's video I'm doing a get ready with me. This was a late get ready with me. It was late in the day, but I really wanted to play with this new palette that I got, so I thought why not sit down and get it done. And I was just in some kind of mood. So I already have my primers on. I use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer and the Milani eyeshadow primer. This primer right here, which is from Lorac, it's the Light Source 3-in-1 Illuminating Primer, is new to me. If you guys have tried it, let me know your thoughts. I've only used it a couple of times, so just one thing that I want to point out. This primer right here, very different from the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Primer. If you guys have tried it, I never see the glow peeking through foundation, so I just feel like it's a waste of money to get that primer. This one, on the other hand, I do see the glow peeking through the foundation. I think it's beautiful. I have the shade Dusk, by the way, and I've ran out of my Argan Illuminator, liquid illuminator from Josie Maran, so I wanted to try something different. For foundation, I'm using the Pour This Way foundation from Too Faced. I have the shade Warm Sand, and this foundation offers medium to full coverage. I usually pump out either a quarter to half a pump. I never do a full pump. I don't know what I was thinking this time around because I never apply that much foundation to myself. But because I did pump it out, I did make use I made use of as much of a foundation that I pumped out. I didn't end up applying the entire thing because it's just a little bit too much for me. I do spot conceal with this foundation. I applied it to blemished areas and let it sit for a little bit. I let it thicken up, and then I'll go in with another brush or a sponge to blend it out. The reason why I don't like applying an entire pump of this foundation is because I find that it looks a little bit too heavy for my liking, and I do feel that as the day goes on, it cakes up quite a bit, and it just doesn't wear off as gracefully, especially like in my chin area or the areas where I normally get oily, which is why I only stick to a quarter to half a pump. There I was just showing you guys how much of the foundation I still had left. So if I ever want any extra coverage, I don't ever apply it on my entire face. I only go in the areas where I want it. Usually that's in my cheek area. I am also correcting in this video, which I never do. I never even do this for special events, but I was in the mood for it. I was looking a little bit rough. I've been sick. You can see it under my eyes. I had severe dark circles. I don't suffer from dark circles usually, but I was, I've just been sick, and that's just that. So I'm using the MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette. This is in medium deep. It's the one that has the NC40, NW40, NC42, and NW43. I just picked up the coral little shade. I use the smallest amount of this corrector, as well as this concealer. This is the Mercier Secret concealer in number 4. Very small amount, and just kind of press it into the skin. Only in the areas where I need it, because it is thick and it's high coverage, but it's very emollient, so it's a really good concealer, but I don't need a very large amount. I'm just pressing it in with my fingers just to warm up the product and blend it in. And because I still had some foundation left over, I went ahead and added a very small layer of the foundation over the concealer, just so that it blends as far as texture goes, so it can blend with the rest of my skin. I love doing this whenever I apply a thick concealer or any kind of thick cream under my eyes. I always like to go in with a very thin consistency, either another concealer or foundation in this case. I'm applying some of the foundation on my eyelids here. Again, I had extra foundation laying around, so I made use out of it. Plus, it covers up any darkness that I have or discoloration that I had on my lids. For powder, I went ahead and applied the Secret Brightening powder from Laura Mercier. This is a repurchase for me. I really enjoy this powder. It's very finely milled. I only applied the smallest amount just to set the concealer in place. I don't need it to be too heavy. And for the rest of my face, I used the Cody Airspun in Translucent. And I have not used this powder in so long. It's a really good powder, by the way. I had just forgotten that this has a scent to it. So if you're bothered by fragrance or anything like that, you may not like this powder, but it is a good powder and I really do enjoy it. For liquid highlight, I've been going on a liquid highlight kind of craze. So I recently picked up actually one from RCMA. It's a cream one. But this one right here that I'm using is from Sephora. It's called the Bright Future Radiant Luminizer in Champagne. I also picked up the one in, what is it called? Oh gosh, Rose? I think it's called Rose. I'm not sure. Really, really pretty. Very skin-like kind of glow. It doesn't have any kind of chunks of shimmer, which is what I like about it. That's what I like in my highlighters. I don't like chunky glitters. This doesn't have that. It applies really, really smoothly. For bronzer, I use the NYX Matte Bronzer. I have the shade Deep Tan. It's a very deep reddish brown bronzer. Super great for deeper skin tones. Very smooth. It's matte. It blends out beautifully. Really like it. I apply it to the hollows of my cheeks and onto my cheek area. I am applying it with this Eco Tools. It's a fan brush, but different from other fan brushes. This one's a little bit more dense and it's a little bit wider or thicker, I would say. So it fits perfectly in the hollows of my cheeks, and it rounds out really well near my, like on my forehead area. I have a very small forehead, so I can't come too low, and I feel like this brush helps me control that. So I do blend it into my hairline as well as under my chin, you know, my jawline, deepen up that area. For blush, I'm using this blush here that I've had for a little bit now. This is from Ben Nye. It's the Dark-9 Dark Tech. It's a burnt orange, really, really beautiful, highly pigmented, and it blends out nicely. I just thought this was going to be perfect with the eye look that I was going to be doing, so I thought I would use it. It is matte. And then for highlight, I picked up a little mini Bobbie Brown. I've never tried the Bobbie Brown highlighters before. This is beautiful. My gosh, this is called Pink Glow. This is what I like about it. It adds a very nice wet look to the skin, which I'm not usually a banging highlight kind of girl. I love very natural highlights, very skin like glow from within highlights. Although this adds more of a wet look, it's very, very smooth. There is no chunky glitter in this. I was impressed. I was expecting maybe this is going to have chunky glitters, maybe add texture. I had none of that. It was so smooth. And I only went in with the smallest amount, and you can see how much of a glow it gave me. It's beautiful. This palette is the reason why I was sitting down so late in the day getting ready. I couldn't wait to play with this. This is from Juvia's Place. It's the Nubian 2. I started off with the orange shade, which is called Morocco, with a large fluffy brush because I only wanted a wash of color in my crease, blown up into my brow, like under my brow bone. This brush right here from Wayne Goss, I love this brush so much. This is like my little eraser brush. It's the number 16. I do use it to set my eyeshadow primer, but I also use it if I ever want to remove some shadow off or blend it out really quickly. I'll go in with this brush because it's so dense and so beautiful. Alright, here I'm applying more of Morocco, but with a much smaller blending brush, kind of like the 217. And I concentrated it more in the socket of my eyes. And then I went in with Kenya, which is the deep brown shade. This is a very pigmented shadow. And I've used this palette now a few times. Every time I go in light-handed with that shadow, I still end up applying way too much or more than what I want. So here I do spend quite a bit of time blending out the brown shadow. I apply it lower and deeper into the socket area, all the way across my socket basically. And I just spent a really long time blending brown, going back and forth between Kenya and Morocco just to make sure everything's nice and blended. I'll go in with a clean blending brush just to make sure everything's looking pretty smooth. So I spent quite a bit of time doing this portion of the eye. I'll also apply it into the outer crease area and bring it in towards the center of my eye, and I'm just kind of packing it on. Very little fallout, actually very minimal, almost no fallout at all. Really beautiful. This entices me to pick up more of their palettes. There's another colorful palette that they have that I'm very interested in. I think it has more not cool, but more colorful shadows like pinks and purples and stuff like that, which I'm interested in. but really great quality so far. I'm gonna keep testing it out and let you guys know. For me, more than anything, I want to see how long these wear throughout the day, because this palette is so inexpensive. I think it was $25 is what their palettes range for, which is really good, and the pigmentation is very nice. So really enjoyed this. Alright, just going in with my little magic brush here from Goss again, the number 16 brush, and this is the color that I was dying to try. I did try the green one in this palette, and I applied it with a different brush, so maybe that was the issue, because I don't feel like the green one applied as smoothly and as vibrant as the blue one did. This shadow is beautiful, guys. I love it so much. I went ahead and packed it onto my lid with a MAC brush. What brush? I think it was a 242 from MAC. It's like a small concealer brush, and just packed it onto my lid area. I did go back and forth between the blue and the dark brown, especially on my outer lid, and I just felt like the dark brown wasn't really blending out the edges as much, so I did bring in the blue shadow further out into my lid, like on my outer part of my lid. I applied it under my lower lash line as well, and then I went in, I think I went in with Morocco, and then went in with Kenya yet again, just to deepen out and kind of smoke out the bottom lash line. But such a beautiful shadow. I'm in love with this. I think it's really great. It does benefit from applying it with a flat dense brush than to kind of blend it out, because I feel like it diffuses the color a little bit too much. Here you can see me going in with that orange shade, which is Morocco, which is what I mentioned earlier. And then for liner, I used the Chanel liner. This is the Stilo U waterproof in number 20. It's the one in espresso, which is the dark brown one. And then I went in with Zuri, which is, gosh, what is this? Kind of like cream gold shade in my inner corner. A little bit, not quite as smooth. I don't feel like it applied as smoothly, so I did spend some time blending that out. And then I'm going in with that blue shadow again and just applying it with my finger because I wanted more vibrancy. I did apply mascara off camera, and then on my lips I'm using Cork from MAC, and then I did end up applying this is a Fenty gloss from Fenty Beauty. I think it's a really beautiful gloss, but it's just a gloss. Like, I don't understand the hype over it. It is beautiful. It's more of like a peachy sheer gloss, and it has little specks of glitter, and it's beautiful. I just don't understand the hype. But anyways, guys, that is everything. This is the final look. I love it. This is like little final touches that I like to do. If I want more bronzer because I felt like I needed it, or blend any kind of blending that I felt like I needed on my eyeshadow, I did go ahead and do that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and little mini reviews and my thoughts on things. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.